Hello guys, welcome to Steve Knows. Today I'm going to go over pieces of information I've stumbled across looking for insights into the upcoming physics-driven adventure, BoneLab. I'm going to show you the trailer breakdown as there are many clues in it, and then additional expectations and basic information like release dates, pricing, specs, and graphical comparisons, plus some additional tidbits. Hopefully everything you'll want to know will be in this video, so please comment anything I do not cover, and I can put it in a pinned comment. So let's get started. So the game is BoneLab, as in the singular. This is an action-adventure physics game releasing with 2 years worth of improvements upon the Boneworks' incredible physical interaction engine, Marrow. This is apparently the studio's most ambitious project yet, where you can enjoy in-depth combat, vertical traversal with better climbing physics, jumping because jumping makes all games better, just ask Elden Ring. And what I found interesting here is the story, because the story is going to be about uncovering the truth, discovering things about your reality, uncovering mysteries as you slowly progress through the game. From looking at the trailer and my knowledge of this title and playing Boneworks, this game is sounding like to be another huge hit with the added consumer-based benefit of being on the Quest platform as well as the PC platform. So the game will be a single-player only experience. There's not going to be any multiplayer, at least at launch, within the 2022 release date. The price of the game I expect to be between $30 and $50 because Boneworks is at the $30 price point. And I think games like this deserve the higher price point. I'd rather get a more expensive game that delivers on this level than some glorified tech demo. The game will also give you a full body, which if you've played a full body experience before, adds something and makes you feel more grounded. The physics will also not be downgraded for the Quest 2 version, which will run at 90Hz, which means the visuals of course will take a hit in the graphical department, but not as much as you might think, and I'll touch on that when I talk about the graphics shortly. So you'll be able to enjoy the full Marrow engine experience, as the developer has said the Quest has a real good CPU, meaning the physics will be exactly the same on Quest as they are on PC, but the graphics will be downgraded. The game will feature a hub where you can play in a sandbox mode and enjoy the Marrow engine. There will be an arena mode where you can engage in combat and let out some stress level 0, a tactical trial mode which looks like a ranged weapon mode with rifles, shotguns, pistols, and of course mod support. As we know, Boneworks on PC had mods, but it wasn't built to support mods. This game is, the developers have said that they have built this with the intention of allowing modifications. This mod support also includes the Quest platform as well, according to the Oculus blog, and we can have custom maps, avatars, and weapon modifications accepted here. There is a section for you to enjoy parkour and skill up on your traversal as well, even an experimental mode, which may be some kind of beta features, or this could be where the custom user community created content will live. There also looks like to be this vending machine where you can adjust your character and customize it, because they have said that they are going to allow player customization in this game. Shotguns are confirmed in this game as well, the same ammo crates as before, escalators are still here, as Brandon loved it, he said from the original on Twitter. There is also a poster with some escalators actually that say Monogon on it, which was the location of the Boneworks game, which could be where this story between BoneLab and Boneworks intertwine. At the end of the trailer as well, you may have spotted Boneworks inside the peak hole, which may be a clue to the fact this story is intertwined with that universe, and or could it be a Quest DLC, or if you own it on PC, could this become an extension of the hub location in future, so BoneLab and Boneworks exist in the same world, in the virtual world, as well as theoretically in the storyline? That would be kind of cool. If we head over to Steam, there is way more information here. So the first thing I noticed was this bowling game where you're in a cart. This was not in the game trailer shown at the event, so this is evidence for additional game modes or community-made content, because they have said they will be supporting mods. At the start of the trailer where you see the rope is actually a clue to the game's storyline, because you have actually been sentenced to death, and that's where the story starts, which is a fun fact. If we look further down the page, you'll see we can import our own characters and have physical stats to match, which seems like the dice at the start of the trailer, which was thrown to randomize a physical attribute and made him chubby. And since they are allowing custom avatars, the game also has a unique body mapping system in place, so your movement feels immersive and correct to you, no matter what your avatar is like. It takes the tracked motion and proportions of the player and remaps that motion to fit the proportions of the avatar player. So if you touch your hips in real life, the avatar is going to touch theirs in the virtual world. It also states there will be user-generated levels, which sounds like community-made content, and that we can unlock more characters as we progress through the game and hit objectives in certain game modes. Then we move on to the system requirements. Are you going to be able to play this with your current PC setup? The minimum specs are a 1070 or a 1660 Ti, which from my experience, minimum specs I tend to avoid because in virtual reality you need a reliable experience. It's way more important than if you're playing a flat screen game. So the recommended settings are a 2070, 2060 Super, or a 1080 Ti or above, with a 3.6 GHz Intel 9 processor. And the dev did say if you ran BoneWorks 1, you should be fine with this game. But what has me worried here, for some people, is the additional notes. It says that an SSD is a requirement. Whether this is to scare us, and it's actually a recommendation, or if this is a set in stone requirement, some of you PC VR gamers may want to think about buying some extra storage if you don't have an SSD at this point. It's pretty cheap these days. You can get an SSD, 128 gigabytes, and just get enough for this game to support this game for a great low price. So onto the graphical comparisons here. What are you getting for that extra GPU boost your PC can provide that the Quest cannot? Because they've already stated the CPU on the Quest is decent and will provide one-to-one physics. The first thing you'll notice in these images is the lighting. This was always going to be a win for the PC VR gamers. The Quest textures are very matted with some baked lighting effects. The color of the null is heavily dampened also. In this dark scenario, the body looks phenomenal. For Quest here, it looks fantastic, even though this is a 2D screenshot, but I've seen some PC VR titles look way worse than this. This is actually quite impressive. There's also this shot with the gun, which is the biggest giveaway to me. If you've played VR lots, you'll know by looking at the hand here, the lack of the shadows due to the lack of lighting makes the game look much flatter, makes it feel more lifeless, less immersive, and can create more of a disconnect. You can see a slight difference in the qualities around the edges of the models as well, but they still look really, really sharp, even though the image is a bit ashy as well. The dev did say that 120Hz might be possible on the Quest if we enable ASW, so it will run at half the frame rate and it will fill in the gaps. Making use of its decent concurrency because it's an XR2 chip and offloading its weaker GPU could result in an amazingly smooth physics-driven experience. And finally, the game is actually going to be cross-buy once available on the Rift store as well. I am beyond excited. The worldly interactions are insane in this game, the way you'd expect a VR world to be. Fully immersive and entertaining. Taking out some gnolls, throwing them down escalators. Shout out to Brandon for this game and Michael Witchoff for the soundtracks. They are fantastic. If you listen to the trailer music, that's actually an official soundtrack of the title apparently. I'm also curious around the science of this game, because if you look at the end of the trailer and some of the images, it does actually have these icons that look like periodic elements with a signature and symbol in one of these blocks, and you can see what the game is going to entail. We have CB for climbing, TC for tactical, which is the weaponry, SR for sprinting, that'll be the traversal, and PZ for puzzles. I hope this has answered some questions and gives you some insight into this game. Please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you next time. Happy gaming. Good day!